What's up, you guys? How are you all doing? I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. I'm on my way to the gym, gonna train legs slash glutes, which is pretty much all I do these days because my category wellness is very much focused on having like a big lower body. Pretty much all the other classes like bikini, figure, even women's physique, even women's bodybuilding, like they all want a balanced physique, like balanced upper and lower. Oh shit. Whereas wellness literally states like disproportionately large lower to upper body. So yeah, if you haven't seen wellness before, this is the sort of look. This is obviously like the top of the pro level. I'm an amateur going for my pro status this year, and I am currently 6 weeks out from my first show, which I'm so excited about. My first show in 6 weeks is a regional qualifier, so there's no pro cards at that show. It's kind of like a warm-up, but I have to do it in order to be able to then do pro qualifiers, which is where I can win a pro card. So 6 weeks out from the regional, 8 weeks out from the first pro qualifier, and I will continue to do pro qualifiers after that one if I need to, like, you know, if I don't get my pro card at the first show. I am feeling pretty good about where I'm at though. Like, I'm really liking the shape and the look that I've got at the moment, considering I've got 6 more weeks, and here it is. This is what I'm looking like right now. I'm saying like 58 kilos, and realistically I'm probably looking at being like 53, 54 on stage, so another like 4 kilos or so to go, which is pretty reasonable for 6 to 8 weeks. Like I said, the first show is kind of like a warm-up, so yeah, anyway, thought I'd take you along, show you guys my session today. Got my pre-workout here, which is RYDERWEAR by OLIMP in the flavor cola. RYDERWEAR is my favorite. Like, I pretty much use RYDERWEAR every single day, but I just use different flavors, and I was feeling the cola today, and yeah, let's get it down, mate. Made it. So this is me just arriving from my leg session, and I thought that I would just talk you guys through everything that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, the exercises that I'm choosing, and just give you guys a lot of information on the way I train. So here I'm just kind of warming up. I always do this before every session. Just get my hips really mobile. I do some squats, some lunges, move around, just get everything really, really warm. And I find that this is just so important. I get so much more out of my lifts. I find that my form is better, my engagement is better, and just overall it's just better for your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, to avoid injury and just keep everything healthy. So I do this for a few minutes, and then I'm ready to get into my first exercise. So my first one here is the Abduction Machine, and here I'm just doing a super lightweight, just warming up my adductors, really, like nothing complicated. Going to put the weight up a little bit and just continue just getting a little bit of a burn on, but just not doing anything too extreme yet, just getting everything warm still. I do also throw in some more lunges and things like that, just if I'm feeling a little bit tight in the hips and I just want to make sure that I'm super warm before I can go in with my heavy set. So still building up the weight here a little bit more. I always know like what weight I'm going to go for my first working set because I log everything. So here I'm going to put my gym pin into the machine. So a gym pin is just a little device that means you can add extra weight because I'm actually lifting more than the stack on this machine now. So I've added on a 15 kilo plate. In fact, no, that's a 20 kilo plate. And I'm going for my top set here. So I always work to my failure point, and now that I'm on prep, my failure point sometimes is not progressing each week. Like sometimes I am stalling or even getting less reps than the week before, but I'm just still trying my hardest because obviously the best lifts that I can get will contribute to the best stage physique, but I also want to be careful not to cause any injuries. So here's my phone where I log all my weights. I've got my session and reps, weights, everything all the way through dated, and I do that every single week for every single session. So my second working set on here, I dropped the weight a little bit and went for more reps and also a little bit faster in the reps. You'll notice that I'm not controlling them quite as much as in my heavier set, just for a little bit more power, and I find that it gives a really good burn. I really like the way it feels. So I call this my back off set. So I've got like one top working set and one back off set on this piece of equipment. So my back off set here tends to be between 15 and 20 reps. And again, I'm always going for more weight if I can, but if I am not feeling as strong that week, or if like my food's been low, then sometimes, yeah, like my weights aren't necessarily going up this close to show, but that's okay. Moving on to my second exercise of this session is the leg extension. So here again, I'm just doing a little bit of a warm-up set. Obviously, I'm fairly warm now that I've done a warm-up and I've done one exercise already, but my knees aren't necessarily warm, my quads aren't warm. So I am just doing a nice controlled warm-up set, nothing too heavy. I really, really want to look after my knees because I've had quite a few issues with them. I think just because I do train my legs so much. So I just like to watch out that I'm not pushing them too hard. I actually just realized this isn't a warm-up set. This was actually a working set. I didn't film my warm-up set, but I did do one. I also wanted to include that I do use intra-workout nutrition. So in my shaker that you saw there, I've got 10 grams of carbs, 20 grams of EAAs, and 5 grams of creatine. I used to use a lot more carbs than this, but we've dropped them now that I'm closer to show, just to cut more calories. So on off season, I'll go like 40, maybe even 50 grams of carbs in my intra-workout shake. But right now, we just need to get calories low because we need to get body fat off. So that's why they're down to 10. But I do still feel the effect of them, and I will include links below of the products that I use. They are all my sponsors, OLIMP. So yes, they are sponsored, but I rate them so highly, and I do have a discount code for the website as well, so I'll put that below. So here I'm on to my third set now. I've done 3 working sets on this, and I do 2 heavier sets and 1 back off set, but heavier, lighter, doesn't matter. You're still always working to your failing point, and whether or not you are getting leaner and closer to show and your failing point comes sooner, that's fine. Your body is still failing, and that is still what we want. So yeah, you can tell by my really nice faces that that was loads of fun. So moving on to the hack squat. This is a warm-up set. I've got 1 plate aside and I'm just going super low, nice and slow, and just feeling the movement. I really want these movements to target my glutes. Like I said before, my category wellness is all about the lower and especially about the glutes. So pretty much every compound that I'm doing, I'm trying to engage the glutes. So that's what I'm doing here. Pushing through the glutes, nice and slow on the way down, and power on the way up. So this is my first working set, and again, I'm just doing as many reps as I can. I know that this is the weight that I am falling into from the previous week, so this week I went for the same weight as the week before. I didn't push my weight up because I found the previous week really, really difficult. So went for the same weight again, went for an improved technique and improved form, and I was so happy with this set and how it felt. I used to absolutely hate the hack squat, but I've got a new love for it recently. I think that it's super important to include things that you don't necessarily love as well, because often there's a reason why you don't like them. It's maybe because your body isn't the best at them. So potentially you're going to get even more out of that movement, because if you're doing something that you can already do, your body has to adapt and grow and change in order for you to be able to do that next time. So second set on this, I kept the same weight again, and the only difference here is I did faster reps. So in my first working set, I did like a 2 or 3 second negative, and on this one, I'm doing more like 1 or 2 seconds, just kind of like constant burn reps. I do still have control. I've always got control of my movements because it's so important, especially when you're trying to target the glutes. Obviously, there is a place for fast, less controlled movements as well. There just isn't a place for them in my training at the moment with my goals, but I'm not like saying that this is right or wrong. This is just what I am doing. So getting nice and deep and pushing the knees out slightly and pushing up through the glutes. I'm so focused the whole time on engaging my glutes the mind muscle connection is a huge thing. If I was just to bash out these reps, then my quads would probably just take over. And for me and my goals, that's not what I specifically want out of this exercise. And again, making really nice facials just like before. So next up, we're doing single leg press. And with this, I do really like to do a few warm-up sets. So I think I did 2 warm-up sets before I actually got into my working set. So the first one here, I've just got 1 plate aside. I'm just doing it super quick, just getting a few movements in, then putting another plate on, jumping back in, and I think I've got a little bit more control in this set, just trying to get the glutes firing a little bit more before I go into my heavy set. So moving on to my first working set, I'm just going to put another plate aside and a 5, so 3¼ plates aside. And I'm doing super slow controlled reps, and I'm really focusing on the glute engagement. You can't really see on this side, but I actually tend to touch my glute or like my glute ham tie-in quite a lot, because I find that just feeling the muscle physically means that like the brain connection to that muscle is better, and I always find that I can get a better engagement and a better set out when I do that. So moving on to the other leg, you'll see me do this more because obviously the camera angle shows it better. And on this set, I was going for like 12 to 15 reps, and I think I got 14 aside on this set. And like I said, this is with a super slow negative. When I go on to my second working set, I'm going to keep the same weight, but we're going to do no negative count. So just a controlled movement, but we're not counting a slow negative. So more like constant reps again. So here I'm going for a few more reps, because when you don't slow the movement down, it's a little bit easier. You can get more reps out of the same weight. So I got 17 reps on my second set here, and it was burny. Really burny. So because I'd already engaged my glutes, I felt it really easy to get my glutes still firing, even though I wasn't doing these slow controlled reps. But I do find that because I do that first set really slow, that it helps with that second set to keep the glutes firing throughout. So next we're on to one of my favorite little machines, the Glute Kickback Machine. And I just absolutely love this piece of kit. Like, I love the way that it just isolates my glutes so well. It did take me a little while to kind of get it nailed and get the movement perfect, but I find that if I turn my feet out a little and push my knee out when I get to the top, and also, as you saw me do there, I do feel the muscle that I'm trying to work, because it does help me get that engagement and get that connection. Also, slowing it down on the way down really helps, and just focusing on the squeeze at the top of each rep. I feel like when you're training glutes, I feel like it's different from any other muscle. Like, you just really need to constantly be thinking about it. You can't just bash out reps and hope for the best. Like, it really is a mental game as well. And I genuinely think that that's why up until now I haven't been that successful at training my glutes. Like, I just didn't really have that connection. And once your glute muscle gets bigger, it is easier. So before your glutes are developed, it's harder to get that connection. So don't worry too much if you find it difficult in the initial stages. But as time goes on, you will find it easier to engage the glutes across all exercises, especially things like this, because I know a lot of beginners do say like, oh, I just can't feel my glutes. But don't worry, it will come, just persist. So moving on to the Smith's machine, I did just do a few bodyweight lunges before I started this, just again to keep everything really warm and get the movement going before I put the weight on. So here I'm doing a split squat, and my negatives are quite slow again. To be honest, looking back, these could have been slower, but I like to keep them slow because, again, I feel like it allows for the glute engagement to be stronger. I am literally just focusing on engaging my glutes, you guys. Like, I'm not trying to make this look pretty. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to do what feels good for my body. So keep that in mind when you're training. Like, you don't have to do something exactly the same way somebody else does. Do it the way that feels good, feels right, and is safe. So on the way down, I am thinking about my glutes, and then on the way up, I'm thinking about them too. I'm just trying to keep them engaged the entire time. Like, you don't want to let them go soft at the bottom. You want to just keep them firing throughout the entire movement. And again, that's why I am touching the muscle I'm trying to work, just trying to keep that focus and keep that engagement all the way through the movement. On my second set of these, I kept the same weight, went for the same reps, but the difference here is after my set, I went into some body weight split squats just to like basically finish off my glutes from this exercise. So I kept it nice and controlled throughout again. I did do both legs, even though I'm not going to show both legs on the weighted part of this exercise. And then I went straight into body weight split squats. So the exact same movement. And again, looking back, like I wish I'd controlled these a little bit more. So I will be doing that next week. But honestly, like my glutes were screaming, you guys. So I was just doing my best here. And I think I went for like 8 to 10 reps aside just to get the last little bit of life out of those glutes and finish this one off. So next we're going on to the Glute Drive machine. This is just such a good machine. I do feel like this one specifically is made for people a little bit taller than me, so I have to put my feet right back on that little narrow bit of platform that sticks out at the bottom, which isn't ideal because I would like to do it with a wider foot, but if I put my feet on the main platform then I'm just too far away, and if I move my body down then the belt just ends up like up around my belly button, which is just not comfortable. So anyway, I did a little warm-up set there with 2 plates and now I'm up to 3. And on this particular session, I only do 1 set on this just because it's nearing the end of the session and it's just a kind of glute finisher for this session. So I went for 20 reps. I only got 18, all with a 2-second hold at the top of each rep. So I'm going up, holding for 2, and then nice and slow down each rep, pushing my knees out slightly at the top just to engage the entire glute. And honestly, guys, like I cannot even tell you how painful this was. I absolutely love it though. Like I just love this machine. I love hip thrusts and glute drives. I do them 3 times a week, like a variation of anyway. So yeah, I do them a lot. So here, moving on to my second last exercise, or this is actually a superset, so 2 exercises. We've got a dumbbell RDL here. So I'm holding the dumbbell in between my legs in this way because I just feel like it really pulls through the glutes really well. I'm letting my knees bend quite a lot because again, I feel like I just get such a good engagement in my glute hand tie-in from this, and going super slow on the way down and then just pulling through the glutes on the way up. In order to get the glutes engaged in this, I feel like I don't need to come all the way up either. So that's something that you guys can try. I feel like coming right up to the top actually brings the lower back in more than the glutes. So I just come up as far as I can feel my glutes firing. I went for 15 reps on this exercise and then I went straight into a goblet squat. I kept the grip on the dumbbell the same though, because again, I just feel like this grip just activates my glutes more than any other grip. So I then went for 15 reps on this exercise as well. And I did this superset 3 times with a 60-second rest in between. And again, this is just me like finishing off the glutes because the start of this session is quite heavy going, like a lot of compounds, and I go pretty heavy on them. And especially getting this close to show, like these sessions, they floor me, guys. So yeah, again, this is a little bit of a finisher. Not that that means it's easy by any means. And moving on to my final exercise of the day is the Abductor Machine. So I'm doing a rest pause set here, a 3-point rest pause. So that means I'm doing 3 sets of, well, I'm aiming for 20 on the first, but then I'm just going failure, failure. So set 1, I got 20, and then I'm just going to rest for 15 seconds, go to failure, rest for 15 seconds, and then go again. So that's a rest pause. So set 15 seconds rest, set 15 seconds rest, set 15 seconds rest, and you're just going to go failure each time. So yeah, there I managed my 20 reps, waited for 15 seconds and went again, and then I think I got 10 reps on my second, rested for 15, and then got 9 reps on my third. And that was just the absolute end of me. So after that, I think I lay on the ground for a little bit and contemplated life. But yeah, it was a really good session. I really enjoyed it. And just to note as well, I am doing cardio after my sessions too. So after this, I jumped on the Stairmaster for 20 minutes, which is my current post-workout cardio at this point out from show. That'll probably go up from now on, but that's where we are at just now. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was informative, educational, interesting, whatever. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. I'll be coming at you with some days of eating, days in the life, all the usual good stuff. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Bye.